Hi, I'm Sharon Curtain. I'm a dietitian and a trainer of health coaches. And I'm here with Carla Butler, who's the founder of the Health Tech Network. And we're going to be talking about her fantastic new program, which is all about equipping health coaches with the essential systems and the tools to start their business. And that's where we know health coaches struggle. So Carla is very passionate about helping people who are both health and wellness professionals make their business operations and tech simpler. So instead of getting all caught up with that, you can focus on what you love instead. She's got a deep understanding of the challenges that are faced by wellness business owners because she's run her own business in the wellness industry for over 5 years. So excited, Carla, to hear all about this program.
Thank you. So it's really interesting because I've been running my own businesses since 2019 within the wellness industry. And what I found was that I was having all these conversations with other business owners where they were struggling with a lot of technical aspects of their business. So from things as simple as adding a Zoom link into a calendar invite, or how do they go about setting up email marketing? Do they have to create templates in Canva first? Editing websites? What should they be doing around scheduling systems? And this kind of work has always felt really quite easeful for me. And as silly as it sounds now, initially, I actually struggled to understand why I was having all these conversations, because to me, it's very much been second nature. And it actually took me a little while to understand that I've had a 20-year corporate career as a legal secretary, a technology project manager, a business operations manager. And so I've been in this area for a very long time. And so I had just naturally applied that to my own businesses. And once I realized that, I really thought this could actually be a really nice combination of that 20-year corporate career with my wellness industry experience. So I decided to just put it out there, and it's actually been really great so far. A lot of people have really gravitated towards what I was putting out there. There's a lot of people just struggling with the basics. Not knowing what they don't know is something I've heard many, many times. And ultimately, these feelings have often led business owners to just not doing anything. And that's the worst thing, right? We've done this learning because we're passionate about something. And then all of a sudden, there's all of this new, technology, systems, process stuff that we're not understanding or have ever really encountered before. And it's stopping us from doing the thing that we love. So ultimately, my goal is to really help these passionate business owners to ditch all of that overwhelm and actually enable them to focus on doing what they love, which of course is helping people.
Yeah. And you know what? It's so interesting. And when we started to talk, Carla, the reason I loved this whole idea is this is what we see with our coach graduates all the time. We see they love the coaching. They're great at it. They get out there and all of a sudden they are deer in the headlights. They, the basic business setup stuff floors them. They get stuck on their colors in Canva, which font they spend forever trying to get the perfect website, the perfect logo, which client management software do I use, and how do I get a discovery call booking? And it becomes so overwhelming because we haven't had 20-year corporate careers in project management like you. So I think we either bootleg it or we become really stuck. And there's so many coaches who almost put their dream on hold of helping people because they are so stuck with these little steps, because this isn't their genius. Their genius is the warmth and empathy, and which you have too in your coaching. But their genius is getting out there and supporting people. And these stumbling blocks are so huge for them. And that's why I'm really excited about you putting together a program that holds their hand through these different steps that get them stuck.
It's really exciting for me as well because, of course, I do this work one-on-one with clients, but it was great being able to chat to you and think about a way that we could actually make this more attainable, achievable for people. So this is a really great way to just get those business owners set up the basics so that they can actually start building their business and do that stuff that they love. And my focus is very much on the tech, the systems, and the process. Things like considering what your client journey is like. So when I'm talking about client journey, I'm talking about from the moment your client or your prospective client sees you, whether that be on Instagram or maybe they've searched for you on Google, right through to the booking and onboarding process, and even what happens after they've met with you. So when that process is seamless and enjoyable, not only does it increase the chance that they're actually going to book with you in the first place, but it also means that they're more likely to come back. So with this, we're talking about things like how easy is it to actually book with you? Can they pay straight away, or do they have to muck around and do a bank transfer afterwards? How do they receive the information they need from you? Are they getting an automatic calendar invite? Are they getting a reminder? How is the onboarding? I've got clients that are still sending out contracts that need to be physically signed, or their client needs to figure out how to digitally sign it instead of just using something like an online form. I've heard multiple times, I don't know what I don't know. And that, as you've mentioned, just leads to overwhelm, being stuck, don't know where to start. And even if you are talking to people to get advice, you're often getting advice in silo. So a business owner friend uses a certain scheduling system. So you implement that system, but then you find out that it doesn't work for you. It doesn't have the function you need. It doesn't talk to any of the other systems. So you get this great advice, but it actually doesn't relate to your business.
And the other thing I really love about this idea, you are ticking off so many of the stumbling blocks of coaches. Mm-hmm. The little tiny things that derail them. They either blow their mind or they'll spend months Googling the best booking system and comparing, is Calendly the best one? I've also heard about Google, and now there's a new thing, and then all of a sudden your head's exploding and you don't move forward. But I love the fact that you're running it in a group, because they're all going to have similar questions. Mm-hmm. You've got to bounce it off, and you've also got an expert opinion. And the number of times I've heard people with things like logos, I was going to call my business this, but then I asked a friend and they didn't like the name. So I asked someone else, and that gets you nowhere. Whereas you've got this group where they can all support each other, but they can also come to you and you can say, look, in my opinion, this is what I've noticed. This is what I've seen. This is the success that I've seen. This is what other clients have done. So you've got all that knowledge to feed in, but they've also got the wisdom and support of each other at the same stage as they move through. They're not alone.
And that's a really good point. What I wanted to do was actually create a support network as well. So have messaging support between sessions, and then extend that out past the end of the program as well. So they are really getting the support they need. And within the health tech network at the moment, I do have a community that I work with like this, and they have the ability to message me. And the feedback that I've got has just been, it is so amazing just having someone that they can ask a quick question to, and they've found it really empowering, because they'll ask a question and I will provide the answer. But also, if they actually want to learn how to use the system, how to do the thing themselves, then I'll give them training on it. I'll empower them to actually manage it themselves, to grow their confidence. So ultimately, they will feel more comfortable with maybe playing with things themselves, testing things out, making their own tweaks to their website, which I think is important, because it's great to have all of these tools and automations and whatnot. But what I'm also very wary of is getting to a point where business owners are reliant on me or someone else. And I've seen this within the website building industry, where someone will go out, they will pay a lot of money to have a custom website built for them, but they can never edit it. So they are stuck with that website builder every time they want to make a change. So end up spending absolute mountains of money, because the website builder can now charge you whatever they want, because you've got no ownership, no power, no knowledge to actually do that work yourself. So that is the opposite of what I'm trying to do. I do the work for some clients, but if the client actually wants to do the work themselves, and probably like the group that comes into this program will be the type of people that are interested in owning that process, that's great. That's actually what I want.
Yeah, fantastic. So it's that whole concept, teach a man to fish.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yep. Exactly.
I know there's a couple of weeks that you're planning with the program, and they all cover different topics. So do you want to give us, everyone who's listening, some more information?
Absolutely. So what we're doing is essentially working on what are the top 5 areas that I think are essential to a new business owner, or even a business owner that's moving from a side hustle into something more. First off is a website. This is really important because think of your website as your online storefront. It's really where potential clients are going to learn about the business owner, what they do, how to get in touch, and it also really builds credibility and trust. So within this program, we're going to build a simple website that has all of the basics. I like to use Squarespace, and that is because it is actually quite simple to edit afterwards. As the business grows, as the business owner gets more comfortable using it, they can add pages, they can add information, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The second piece is having a domain name and a professional email associated with that. So when I'm talking about a domain name, I'm talking about your URL, your business name. So for me, www.healthtechnetwork.com.au. This is important. Again, it lends to that trustworthiness, that credibility. Having your own domain name on your website, of course, which also mirrors your business name, but also setting up your email under that domain name. I don't know if you've ever had this, Sharon, but I get a lot of cold emails, and it will be something like kevinthecoach@gmail.com or SEOexpert@hotmail.com. I immediately delete those emails because to me, that just does not feel like a credible business. It feels a bit scammy. So having that professional domain name linked to your email address, linked to your website, really, really important from that, the way that people are going to perceive you. I personally love to use Google Workspace with my clients. Super easy to set up. It's not super expensive. It's about $8 a month, and it's cheaper than Microsoft 365. You have the ability to set up multiple emails for free. And I'll give you an example actually of where you might want to do this, because I've recently set this up for a client. For example, you only do invoicing once a month. You set up accounts at healthtechnetwork.com.au. Doesn't cost you anything extra. Those emails skip the inbox, go straight to a different folder, and then you would just check that folder once a month. It's just removing that noise from your inbox. Another reason you might want to do this is maybe you just want to look like you've got a team. No one knows that you're getting that email. Or maybe long term, you're planning to hire a bookkeeper. If you implement this now, all of your billing contacts already have the account's email, but you've also essentially created a little folder for that bookkeeper. He or she can now see exactly what sort of work that you want them to do, and it helps that whole handover process.
Yeah. Oh, that's genius in itself. What's number 3?
Scheduler and payment processor. So the scheduler really comes back to that client journey. We don't want to be having those backwards and forwards conversations over 2 weeks to make that first appointment. Quite often, if potential clients don't have the ability to book online, they will look at the next person on the list. So it's making that process really easy for your client. It's also making the process a lot easier for yourself. I have a client who, when she came to me, said, oh, well, I had Calendly set up. It never worked for me. It turned out that she didn't have her syncing on properly. So what was happening is she had to manage her Calendly separate to her calendar. We have everything set up so it talks to each other. So you don't need to manage multiple calendars. It is all in one place. It talks both ways. So there's no extra work. It reduces that work.
Yeah.
Along with that, a payment processor is a really good idea. I tend to use Stripe. Last time I checked, it had the lowest fees. It reduces the amount of admin in terms of invoicing and payments. So if you are sending an invoice after the fact, you're having to remember to do that. You're then checking that the payments come through. Then you're potentially chasing the payment. If the payment is up front, you're reducing cancellations and no-shows straight away. So big benefit both in terms of ease for the client and, again, ease for yourself.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about choosing a scheduler And yes, there are absolutely lots of options. With my clients, I tend to keep it pretty simple. I've got 3 top schedulers that I like to use, and I'll give you a quick rundown of what they are. So Acuity is absolutely brilliant. Depending on what you need, that could be a great choice. Calendly, also fantastic, has a few less bells and whistles, but the beauty of Calendly is you can also set it up for free to do one appointment. So that can be a really good entry level program for people to use. The other great one I love is TidyCal. Virtually no bells and whistles, but the lifetime fee is something crazy like $50. And you mentioned Google. Google now have appointment settings, and you can even link Stripe to it. So that is completely free. It sends reminders. So provided you don't need all these integrations, that is also a great place to start because it does not take very long to set up. So you could use something like the Google appointment settings, particularly as a new business owner. And then once you get things rolling and you know what functionality you want, then you can start to look at one of the more expensive scheduling systems if you need to and just migrate across.
Amazing.
The 4th one, email marketing. The reason we really want to work with this is because a lot of business owners are tending to rely a lot on social media. So Instagram, for example. Now, within Instagram, there's a few issues, right? The algorithm's always changing. We also run the risk of actually losing our information at any time. I know multiple business owners who have lost their entire accounts. The other key thing is that we don't really have any control over the audience in that platform. We are, totally at the will of the algorithm in terms of who sees our content. So this is where it can be really helpful to start to build an email list, just to diversify the way that you're reaching out to your clients, the way that you're nurturing your clients. Just to give you a bit of an idea of a comparison. So an average open rate for emails, sort of around 50%, although I do know a health coach who was up in the high 70s, which is really great. By comparison, on Instagram, your reach, it's comparative to your open, someone getting eyes on your content, it's only 12% per post, and it's 2% for a story. So you can see how much of your audience you can actually reach via email.
Yeah.
Not to mention, in terms of actually engaging, if someone has opted into your email list, they are far more engaged with you than if they've just hit follow on Instagram.
Yeah. Having an opt-in and having an email marketing list is such a no-brainer, and having someone hold your hand through that, because I know it does your head in.
And I think also it's a really nice way to provide value to your clients past just an Instagram post. So the way that you would build your email list is by creating a freebie or an opt-in. And that's just a way of basically saying, hey, here's a piece of valuable content that's going to help you in return for your email address. And of course, you're going to continue to provide really valuable content throughout. So I would always recommend to business owners who are thinking about this to not necessarily even think about, what new content could I use for my freebie and opt-in? Chances are you've actually already got some content there that you've developed that you could actually reuse. So it might be a cheat sheet, it might be an ebook, it could be a webinar, it could be a little mini course that you've delivered but has a lot of value in it, and you just pop that up as a free webinar. And I think it can be really good to start thinking about these things early as well. So what can you either repurpose or what potentially can you create?
Yep.
The last one is around public-facing profiles. And by this, I mean all of the online public places where people can see you, learn about you and your business. So what we want to do is make sure that all of these public-facing profiles are correct. They've got all the right links. They have consistent information. The links aren't broken. The branding, the styling is all consistent. And for businesses who actually deliver services face-to-face, we also look at Google My Business. So how to optimize Google My Business to gain more visibility. And if anyone watching this does deliver services face-to-face and you haven't opened up or claimed your Google My Business account, please go and claim that. It's very important for the way that you show up on Google search.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. And the thing that I love about this, there's so many things. I love the community. I love the fact that instead of spending months of doing your research, backward, forward, and then at the end, not knowing which way forward because you are such a deer in the headlights. They've got your expertise. I'm thinking even for myself, even for our business, like I'm sitting there going, oh, I think I need to do your course. And if we had this right at the beginning, how much simpler it would have been. There's just so many times that links haven't worked and we haven't known, or we've forgotten about updating LinkedIn. All of these things is just to do this over a couple of weeks or over a couple of modules is just so valuable. Coaches are going to be able to just get on with what they need to do when this is all done.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the beauty of really guiding them through it so that they will get it done within the time frame. And then it's done and dusted. They can go back in 6 months and make any updates once they've figured out their niche, for example. But, right now it's all just about getting visible and really making the client journey just amazing, but also not building up all of these admin manual processes, which when you've been in business for a little while and everything's manual, and then it's an even bigger headache because the business is bigger now and you don't actually have the capacity to go back and change everything. So it's about putting the basics in place to really set them up for success as they grow.
So exciting. What do they need to know?
Sessions will be fortnightly. There will be a little bit of pre-work, and that's more just to make sure that we can make the most of the session. So coming in with the right information. I'm going to set up a group messaging system so that they can message for advice. They can also message the other members and share information.
Have you got pricing for this? Have you already thought of your pricing?
Oh, I have. We're looking at $349 for the 10 weeks. It'll be fortnightly. So that's going to include the 5 sessions, the recording, unlimited group messaging during the program, and then messaging support for 2 weeks after the program as well, just to make sure that everything's working smoothly.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. So it's like $70 a session to sit down and have all of that thinking done for you. So but it's hands-on. That's what I love. It's not just sitting back and having a webinar. It's like this hands-on, something is accomplished at the end of every session.
Yeah, so the idea is you'll leave that session feeling amazing because you've basically just drafted your website or you've just set up your scheduling system. So every session you're going to have an outcome. And I should mention we will record it as well. So if anyone needs to catch up or replay, it'll all be recorded and available.
Okay, so we need to get this going. We need to get this out to the coaches. I think you're going to be inundated with people who are going to need this. I mean, we get it all the time. I still haven't set up my website yet, or I'm still dabbling in this, or, we say, how are you going? Yeah, I just got a few more things to tick off and they're dying to get going. Yep. So much time they're going to save. They're going to get going with you. And I'm super excited, which is the whole reason, you and I had this conversation is we saw this massive need. We know that coaches need something that's going to be affordable, and that at the end of that 10 weeks, they're going to have all of that. They're going to be ready to go. Their systems are going to be done and they're going to be ready to book their clients seamlessly and know that there's no hiccups along the way.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. So we'll be getting coaches to contact you if they're interested, and we'll be setting up some dates to get going. I'm super excited about sharing this with all of our graduates, and stay tuned for the next webinar where you'll be sharing your Google Suite strategies. Hey?
Yes, absolutely. I'm super excited about that one too, because some of these things are just, they're absolute game changers. So yeah.
I'm in.
Amazing.
All right. Well, I can't wait for the next steps, and we will be keeping all of the coaches updated with what they need to do to join you.
Cool. Beautiful.
All right. Thanks. Bye.